CHI Health Center, Supernovas Radio Network, powered by theticketfm.com. DP, super producer Rico. It's a sweep here at CHI Health Center. Supernovas winning 3-0. They improved to 16-7. The brooms are out, and we get set for Grand Rapids on Sunday. But when you have the opportunity to bring in quality class, all of those things, and a local who is doing things at an international top level, Anthony Lionheart Smith from the UFC, brother, thank you.
Yeah, thanks
for doing
having
this.
me. Thanks for having me. I love this. I have so much fun at this. Like, my top live professional sporting event to go to is the UFC. Like, there's nothing like it. But number 2, and it's pretty close, is a Supernovas home game.
What is it about this that's happening, Anthony, that for your young ladies who play the sport, your wife who played the sport, you being a fan of the sport, how cool is it for Omaha to have this to present and kind of reset the standard?
Man, it's just the energy. It's the energy. And everybody here, it really comes down to like how bad do people care? How bad do people care? And everybody in this entire arena really cares. And you have an entire arena that's full of really educated fans. So, like, as soon as a point happens for the opposing team, the ball may not even be completely dead already, and it goes silent because that's not our point. Nobody likes it. But they're so educated, they recognize it right away so fast. And that just parlays into everything else that's going on here. Like, everyone knows what's going on. Everyone's Novas fans. They all got the gear, the T-shirts. They want the little mini volleyballs. They want the signatures. They want the towels. They want everything. The Novas is where it's at when it comes to Omaha and volleyball. And I think it's only going to get bigger from here. I really do. I think this is just the beginning.
I think it's fascinating, right, that you're on the international scale and that you still stay connected to the local thing that matters, which is part of the charm of Anthony Lionheart Smith. I mean, we know he's a killer, but the beauty of it is you care about your community. You're active in the community. There are volleyball people who know you and your family because of volleyball as well. That's super cool to watch the interaction in the building.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, I feel like I have more like personal interactions with professional sports, more so with the volleyball community here in Omaha. Like, I've long said, I don't hang out with fighters. I don't hang out with professional athletes. I don't hang out with celebrities. It's not my thing. I like to hang out in my neighborhood, in my driveway with regular people, normal people that do normal everyday things. But like the Novas are a little bit different. Like, the volleyball community is like it's its own little world from the club level to the super competitive, like one's team club level to college, and like everybody is tied together. You'll have a dad that has a girl that's on a 12-goal team somewhere that also has a Division I girl that's the older sister. Like, it's this family thing. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I love traveling with my daughter, playing on the club level. I love hanging out with the parents in the all these hotels, and you're just chopping it up. And like, you guys are growing together, and you're growing your families together. And this is where we end up at when it's all over with. Hopefully, is professional volleyball, so we can continue to do this in our own city, in our own state.
I try to imagine that young Anthony Lionheart Smith doesn't know that the UFC is going to exist, but he loves the thing, right? He loves the art of it. He loves and then you find out that, wait a minute, I can elevate at this thing, and it requires work. It's pretty cool to be able to show you young people, your young ladies, hey, it does pay off if you put in the work. And genetically, they won the lottery. So then it's just a matter now of putting in the work. You got to sit down and chat a little bit with Lindsay Krause.
I did.
Right, another one. And you said, I'm her biggest fan. Tell me why.
So my oldest daughter, she's 12 years old. She's almost 6'1". About 160 pounds. She's a very large girl for her age. Lindsay Krause is my height. She might be just a tad bit taller than I am. She might be 6'5". She was probably a large girl for her age at every milestone she ever hit. That in itself, for young women and young girls coming up when she's in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, is its own totally different battle that you have to deal with girls as they grow up. There's a self-image issue. There's how they feel around other people. Like, that's its own problem. But then when you get into the competitive world, they don't, when they're that large, of course, every volleyball team on the planet wants them. Every basketball team wants them. The issue is they don't move as well as everybody else does. They're not as fast as everybody else is. They're not as coordinated early as a lot of the other girls that are their age. So they struggle more early in their lives. So they need a little bit more. So they have this personal struggle with their size. And now they have this athletic struggle where everybody wants them, but they don't quite move as well. And they don't quite do as well because they are so big for their age.
And they're being coached to big, not to skill.
Exactly. They're not being taught basketball skills. They're being taught how to rebound and how to shoot from the paint. Like that. And you got to find coaches and people around them that are going to teach them the skill, the volleyball technical abilities, the basketball skills. And then as they get older and their bodies start to mature, then they can start figuring that out. And then that's how you end up with girls like Lindsay Krause. So Lindsay Krause tried out for the 11s team when she was playing at Premier, which is the club that my daughter now plays for, exact same club. Lindsay Krause was cut from that team. She didn't make a team. She didn't make the gold. She didn't make the silver. She didn't make the red. She didn't even make the regional team. Cut completely. You can't even play here.
Yeah.
That's where Lindsay Krause was. Now Lindsay Krause is one of the highest recruited volleyball
number
players.
2 in the country in her class.
Number 2, like highly recruited coming out of high school, and now she plays in Nebraska, just 50 miles down the road from where she grew up. So after she was cut, then she made the next time she tried out, then she made the black team, and then she went on to obviously play gold probably the rest of her entire time at Premier and playing club volleyball. My daughter played out for the 11s, same height, same size, almost exactly the same story in terms of their size.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make it a team. Not the gold, not the silver, not the red, not even the regional team. She couldn't even play on the team. She couldn't even practice. She couldn't sit a bench on a team. Next season, makes the team makes 11 black, and now she's 12 gold, and she is a absolute monster middle. And she's just trying to follow in Lindsay Krause's steps. So it was cool for me to finally meet her and tell her that story. Like, you make a big difference to people that you have no idea even exist.
Isn't that the real planning of this thing? Like, sports does this.
That's sports across the board,
right? It plants seeds sometimes for fruit we never even get to see.
Yeah.
And she's doing that. All of the Supernovas are doing that.
Well, and I know that means a lot to me. When people tell me that, like, you inspired someone is trying to follow in your footsteps, someone wants to do the things that you do, that means more to me than anything you could probably say.
Listen,
so I wanted her to know that that matters.
It's just crazy with the timing of everything because, you have that story and then all of a sudden, you have one of the biggest years in women's sports with Volleyball Day in Nebraska, all the volleyball programs across the country breaking records. You have Caitlin Clark doing what she's doing. You have softball going up as well. And then, oh, by the way, there's a professional league in the United States for women's volleyball. It's just the timing of all of this just couldn't be more perfect. And it's crazy.
I'm fascinated in this that you made a road trip. You took a short notice fight, got on the card, accepted the challenge of a young undefeated fighter. Folks talked. Oh, Anthony's done. Maybe he's too old. Maybe it's just listen. 120 seconds into this thing, it's party over. Listen, we're on the road, watching your fight in a hotel bar, cheering like they just won set 3.
Yeah,
because that's the impact you had. And listen, for the old heads out there, and then the athletes at the top level, for the Supernovas to be watching you the way you watch them, I think is something really cool.
That's super cool. That's super cool because I'm here in the stands nerding out. Every set, every ball that's coming back their way, like I'm just hoping that they can get to it. That's really what it's about when it comes to like local sports and local athletes and local teams. Like, we got to build each other up. Like, if you guys are going to sit in a hotel room and spend your time watching on a laptop or an iPad or whatever it is to watch me for 15 minutes, God damn it, I can come down here and I can come support you guys and I can be here for them.
It's everything.
And cheer and make sure that I show my face, because if it's important enough for them to watch, then it's way important enough for me to come here.
You talk about the locality of it. How big is it for the local scene to have the inaugural championship matches in Omaha.
No, it's huge, man. We just keep talking about it, but it's so big for women's sports. It's so big for volleyball in Nebraska. Like everywhere I go, people will say, "Oh, you have, like if I meet someone, do you have any kids?" Yeah, I got 4 kids. I got 4 daughters. Oh, do they play any sports? I got a daughter that plays volleyball. And then I go on to the other sports my other kids play, and then it always goes, "Oh, Nebraska, oh, that's a big deal. Volleyball's a really big deal. Let's keep that going. Like this is the state. I want to be in the state where when you say I have a child that plays volleyball, everyone immediately goes, "Oh, that kid's got to be good."
I will take the extra look.
Yeah.
I get a closer look. I get a little bit more consideration.
Right.
And it's Nebraska, so the value and standard goes up. And it not for nothing, Rico, but they're also doing that with mixed martial arts here in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And to have more of those conversations that, wait a minute, y'all got some fighters and this stuff matters. What's next for you, Lionheart?
Man, to speak on that point really quick, I think Nebraska's kind of always been that for mixed martial arts and I think you see it in our volleyball a little bit. You see it a little bit in our basketball. I think you're really seeing it now in volleyball, but Nebraskans have always been notorious. If you travel to the coast, even early MMA days, right?
Yep.
Early fighting days.
Yep.
You might not, even back then, you might not have drawn the best fighter in the world, but you can guarantee you drew the toughest.
Yep.
You're going to fight the toughest guy you ever fight in your whole life. If you're reading his bio, it doesn't, wins and losses doesn't really matter. Southpaw Orthodox doesn't really matter. Where's he? You see he's from Nebraska? Now we have a serious problem. A serious problem because all the other stuff doesn't matter because now he's from Nebraska. And
that dude put in some work.
Even if you beat him, you're not going to want to do it twice. You're not going to want to do that twice, right? So I think that you see that across sports in Nebraska, like the Novas battle, like Husker volleyball battles, like Premier volleyball battles. Like there's no easy games. Even if you win, you're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be that much fun. And I think that's probably something I'm proud of the most. Like it doesn't matter what sport you're in. We've been blown out in football a billion times. Nobody leaves there as a winner, like not looking exhausted and broken, even when they win.
Well,
that's what I'm super proud of.
Well, and that's another thing is that you are a sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to be a pro athlete, right? We see you, and I can't wait for this season to actually have you around to talk Huskers football.
I can't wait.
Talk Huskers basketball. And I have captured him, and I'm going to pin him down. So publicly, for the record, for all of the sponsors who ask, when is the Anthony Lionheart Smith Show coming to Nebraska and 93.7 The Ticket? Kind sir, what's the answer?
It's going to be pretty soon. We just I gotta get to Lincoln. I'm finally home. I got out of this training camp. I got out of this fight uninjured. A lot of times we plan on doing this, and then I go like, okay,
you got stuff going on.
As soon as I fight, let's get this going, and then I fight, and then I end up in a surgery, and then a rehab, and then so we got to get this going in the next week or so. Let's get to Lincoln. Let's sit down and just hash it out and see what we're going to give to the people.
It's a necessary thing. Listen, kind sir. It is a pleasure.
But I would say, I think we can get a show out within a month.
I think
we can start rolling.
Careful now, you're going to start saying that. DP going to do it.
Well, he knows I'm going to sell it, first of all.
You're saying it live.
Like, we're going to sell it.
No, I'll say it live. I don't have any problem with that. But I think we can get to Lincoln. We can at least structure it and see kind of what we're gonna get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think once we get the logistical part of it all set, I think within 30 days, I think we can get a show rolling.
And then it becomes
that'd be crazy if we couldn't.
Oh,
because I'm really giving us like an additional.
We could do it tomorrow.
That's what I mean. Like,
we really could do it tomorrow.
I'm giving us some additional time just in case.
Yeah. No, there's other stuff going on
pretty soon.
Well, I know you. We're going to see you at Wednesday's semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
See you at Saturday's final. Listen, brother, it is a joy to see you in the building and have you in the building and have you do what you do and represent this fine state, this fine community. Brother, you are a great ambassador for everything that you touch. I'm honored to call you friend.
You know, I appreciate the hell out of you, man. Before I get out of here, the last thing that really sticks with me with the Novas,
mm-hmm.
and this is kind of something that I try to leave people on all the time. I think a lot of times as parents or your parents or your grandparents, they tell you all the time, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. And I always was afraid. I always used to wonder why my mom said it. Like she would say that same thing to me. And I would always wonder, well, why didn't you? I think like the Supernovas are the people that you can bring your kids to and say, you can do that. You can do whatever you want, which is exactly what I do every single time I bring my daughters here. Like when they say, well, where did she go to college? And like, they're not only just coming here and enjoying the sport, they're digging into their backgrounds and where they came from. Or, okay, well, she went to West Virginia and she went to LSU. Well, I like Louisiana. Like my kids have been to West Virginia. Like now they start to figure out like, okay, I could go here. I got to make sure my grades are good because now I got to get into Division I because I want to go to LSU or I want to go to Penn State or I want to go where she went to end up here. And I think that is the biggest learning lesson that I can all I got to do is bring them here and show them and say, read the paper. That's what she did.
Isn't that awesome?
Why can't you do that? You're looking at it right now. And that's what I've always tried to do. Like I can tell my kids you can be or do whatever you want. But I just say, just watch me. You can do all that. I can just show you. And that's what the Supernovas have given me the opportunity to do.
This is why we made a point to walk them up to some of them after the match.
Right.
That proximity changes perspective.
You know, I talked about this. I'm going to get off on a tangent for a second. I talked about this with Jose Aldo and Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez is a training partner of mine. Jose Aldo, to the rest of the world, doesn't exist. You see him on TV all the time. It's one thing to see him through a screen, right? But nobody sees him because he's not as visible. He doesn't do any media. He doesn't go to places. He's not very public. He's very private. He doesn't actually exist to regular people. So then Jonathan Martinez finds himself in the middle of a fight with him. The doors close. Boom. Are you ready? Are you ready? And then they have to fight. Now Jonathan Martinez realizes that's an actual person that he's never seen before. He's never actually met a legend, a real life living legend right in front of him. Now that guy's punched him in the face. What I want to do is I want to continue to expose my kids. So when they're out here on the court and they're taking pictures and they see Cruz and they see everybody, like those are real people that are just like them. They breathe oxygen and they walk with you 1 foot in front of the other. Like it's not crazy and it's not unreachable. And that's the biggest gift that the Supernovas has given me, to show my kids that like these superstars that they see on the screens on TV, that we watch them at home, they get their T-shirts and they buy their jerseys. These are real people, and they do things that you could do if you put the work in.
And it's kind of funny that way because you're talking about being the biggest fan of Lindsay Krause and how all these people look up to her. We had her down here for the intermission, and she's talking about how she's fangirling over Betty Dela Cruz and Tori Dixon.
Tori Dixon is probably my favorite volleyball player. She is amazing. And like when you watch her play, she's just working hard the whole time. Like she's super tuned in and she's working hard the whole time. Like it makes a lot of sense that Lindsay Krause would be such a big fan of her. Like that's crazy to me.
Well, Tori has done the work. She's got the family reputation. She's got the father that was an lineman in the NFL. And so her work and her culture demands that she put in the work, but she takes the extra step. And the biggest part of that as well, she may be the best teammate on the roster.
It looks like it.
Right? Like
she's amazing.
Like she's the heavy lean. So it's through all of this stuff, and that's why I'm glad we did this thing called Supernovas Volleyball. I'm looking forward to what's next. But brother, you being in the community makes all the difference in the world.
Man, I'm happy to be in it. I'm just happy to be here. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful for you guys. I appreciate you guys letting me come down and hang out with you. And let's do this more often.
Let's get it, bro.
There we go.
That is Anthony Lionheart Smith, super producer Rico. We'll throw it back to break. We'll come back with Coach Bird and close out this 3-0 win over Columbus Fury tonight, CHI Health Center.